starting off with this week's economic calendar. Just having a look. Monday in the US, you've got Martin Luther King Day. Tuesday, you've got GBP news events. Wednesday, looking at the economic calendar, we've got a fairly busy week, especially towards the end. So we'll keep that in mind when going through our charts and especially what we're looking at for this week. Jumping straight to the charts. Right, this is from last week, our position, which we are still currently in, and it's not going very well. So from last week, as I said, this position, we had a nice runner, but got taken out at break even due to spreads being widened at 10 o'clock on Thursday night. Looked for a re-entry, which was just based off of a lot of wickage and rejection from this 4-hour 50. When we go down to the 1 hour time frame, as you can see, we've got multiple, I guess you can call these triple tops, double tops. You can even call this a head and shoulders pattern here, with the left head as the wick goes higher, bodies still stay the same, and then the right shoulder broke below, and we entered off of the rejection of this neckline on this candlestick here. Again, this was somewhat a degenerative play, just because on Friday you don't really want to be taking trades towards the evening. This was at 4 p.m. So as you can see at the bottom, it was Friday the 16th of Jan, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock candlestick here. Obviously, if we look at the volume as well, it was very high volume, which led me to believe there could have been some sort of further move down, hopefully to break these lows by the time we closed out for the day. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. We're still holding this position, ultimately hoping for the best at this point, because again, market has just opened. It is looking to readjust to news events that came out over the weekend, but this is why we do not take trades on a Friday. Again, my mistake here, shouldn't have done so, but I did, and here we are. Before we jump into more pair charts, what I like to do on a Sunday is go through indexes. Wow. If we're looking at the DXY, this is the US dollar index, what we're seeing is on the daily time frame, we've had many lows, highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We've broken structure here and here. This could, yes, be a bullish market in sense. If we want to base it off the daily, go into the 4 hour, yes, this does look bullish. However, if we do look at the weekly, which is always good to find bias and direction, I've got a fib placed from this swing high to this swing low. And what we need to be wary of and cautious about is coming into areas of interest. As we've come into this 61.8 and in between the 78.6 on the fib, which we like to call this the golden region, we need to be wary of reversals or some sort of rejection from this area. We could still come up higher and then have a move down, but again, these are things that we need to look out for. Moving on to euro, again on the daily time frame. So what I was talking about last week, we came in, made a lower high, close tested this daily 50 EMA, and had this continuation down. From this level here, we can see some rejection, support, resistance all across here. I guess if we come in a little bit further into this grey area, we could see some sort of reversal from here. On the 4 hour, if we do come back up, say to see something like this, at this level here, with the EMA coming wrapping round, depending on what happens in this area with price action, we could look to again take this short once more. Yen looks great for a continuation down. As you can see on the 8 hour, once we come into this 8 hour 50, look at this, we break above it, close below it, have a drive down, break above, have a drive down. Every time we come close to this 8 hour 50, we bounce off it. So here what we can see, we're having a push up past the 8 hour 50. However, again, we'll keep an eye and see what happens further into the week. We are coming up to this 78.6 on the fib. So if we have a rejection from this area, and break back below here, I will look to short the yen this week. Pound, from analyzing this chart over the weekend, what I can see, I am in a euro GBP short, which I'm looking for euro weakness and pound strength. Every time we've come up and out of this consolidation area, which has been going on for I believe over a year, but every time we've come out of it here, we've had a driver down, out, down, wicked out, drive down, wicked out, drive down. Initially, when I entered this trade, I anticipated a move from breaking out to retesting this area, retesting these highs here, and continuing a move up. However, we could see some sort of move to the downside based on previous market action, which isn't great for our trade, but we'll see how it goes. On the 4 hour, again, this doesn't look great for our trade as we've broken below this 4 hour 50. So yes, we could see a continuation to the downside for pound sterling weakness. AUD, we are AUD strength. We're looking for strength plays only. So if we have a move down into this highlighted area to retest these highs, coming into here and then potentially making our way up from there, looks great. If we go down to lower time frames, we've just broken below this 4 hour 50. The higher the time frame, the more weight it holds. So on this 12 hour, if we see potentially something like this, AUD having a driver down, this EMA following through, we could look to take this leg higher from there. So the Canadian dollar on the weekly time frame has ultimately closed tested this weekly 50. So what we could see is a further push to the downside. So what I'd be looking for here is a break below this level, coming back up to retest it with this 4 hour 50 EMA following through to take it down further. So the Swiss franc, we have rejected this area of support and resistance, it being resistance here, support here, support, somewhat resistance there. However, we're not fully in the clear for this to be something that we'd look to buy. What I would like to see, ultimately, this is very, very choppy. This isn't clear on market structure at all. But if we do have a strong push to the upside, getting above these highs here, potentially here, having a strong push up, coming back down with that EMA to come up to follow it, that is when I'd be looking for Swiss buyers. New Zealand dollar. Here we are in somewhat of a range. If you wanted to call this a downwards flag, a bear flag, which could be breaking out of here to have a push to the up. So what I would like to see before taking this high or low, again here we are creating some sort of structure, making highs and lows. If we can break above here, this EMA wrapping round, something like that, off of these tops, that'd be a great move to the upside. Ultimately, what I'd like to be looking at is yen shorts once we have this rejection of this 8 hour 50, if we get it, and potentially longs on the Australian dollar, which would lead us to AUD JPY, which I've marked out over this weekend. Before this candlestick opened, actually, I was hoping that we'd bounce off of this area here, maybe come into the 61.8, reject it and then have a move up. However, on this 8 hour, which again, if you look at previous market structure here, 8 hour 50s, 8 hour 50, 8 hour 50 close test, we've rejected it all the way up. If we have a rejection of this 8 hour 50 here, go into like the 1 hour, if we see some sort of rejection pattern, whether it be a reverse head and shoulders, market structure shift, we can get above here, coming up to retest sort of this area. Would love to take it long from there. All dependent on actually what yen decides to do. But we'll come back and visit this Monday evening and see where we can take it from there. Crypto's having a nice little push down. Again, we could re-enter this position from the daily 50 coming up here, or us visiting the daily 50 down here in this area. If we have a nice rejection, we could look to take this up on a shorter time frame. But shall see.
The next day.
Wicked. How can I start this challenge at 95,000 basically? Negative 5% in drawdown. And we're already another percent down to 94,102. Crazy to be honest. But that's what happens when you want to do degenerate stuff on a Friday, entering shorts when you've got President Trump in office. Insane. When market opened at around, what time did market open? When market opened at 10 here, I thought we'd potentially hold this 4 hour 50, but got absolutely ruined. Ran all the way straight to my stop loss. So take risks and prosper. And unfortunately, we got cooked. But that's fine. Game's the game. Alright, we have entered some new positions this Monday. First thing this morning, what I did enter was this AUD JPY long position, which I spoke about earlier. When we come into this 8 hour 50, we do reject it most of the time. So probability is that as we came into it this time round, we'd reject it once more. So from this 8-hour 50, we had a fib also going from this swing low to this swing high, came down into this golden region, rejected the 8-hour 50, tapped into this level of support and resistance from these highs here, rejecting this area, and ultimately took this long. Our 1 hour entry was this candlestick right here when we broke above our area of interest here, came back down to retest it and took it long, and it looks like it's going great. If you want to jump to the indexes as well, which I mentioned, from this 8 hour we rejected this 8 hour 50 beautifully at this level of support and resistance, 61.8 on the fib. We came up to almost reject the 78.6, but again, this is our golden region which we came in, rejected, had all our confluences here again. So in this area, rejected this 8 hour 50, 61.8 on the fib. Beautiful. Australian dollar, looking at it, we are bullish on this on multiple time frames. We aren't at a significant area of interest at the moment, so we still have room to continue to the upside. So here we made a new high, breaking this structure, came down, close tested this 4 hour 50 and had our move up. So that is our AUD JPY position, aiming for a 2.4 risk to reward. Our BTC long, which was still in, I did mention also this coming down to retest the daily 50 and potentially getting in some more positions on this. However, because I've already entered 2 additional positions, the other one I will get into, we're not looking to be entering any more just yet. But yeah, this trade is still running smoothly. And oil was our next position. We've longed oil. Reason being, if you want to look at on the 8 hour, this was a super swing position, which I held for many weeks. We had retest of this area. On the daily time frame, we've broken bullish, so broke above this level, confirming a shift of structure, came down to retest these previous highs. Also at the daily 50 EMA, we had a 50% retracement. On the 8 hour also, 8 hour 50 being rejected here. Again, looks clean from this level to take it up. Not only that, we have positive correlation with CAD yen. If CAD yen is bullish, then typically oil will do quite well as well. And from here, if we just look at it on the daily time frame, we are quite bullish on CAD yen also. Similar trade setup to our AUD JPY position. We're looking to short the yen. AUD JPY was our position. If we're shorting the yen, CAD yen will likely perform. That is our 2 additional positions which we've added today. Here they are live on my C Trader. Our oil position is in 155 profit. AUD JPY 753. BTC 217. The only reason why that's 217 and not 400-ish is because swaps over a long period of time have taken basically 0.25%, which isn't great. And our Euro GBP position, which hit our stop loss, was here, negative 1,000. And this was the break even when I got taken out by swaps right here. Look at that. Look at that. Where's the candlestick here? You can't even see a candlestick because there isn't one. What a damn shame. I'll check in with you lot later on this week, towards the end, probably the end on Friday, see how these trades played out. But other than that, let the challenge continue.
The next day.
Wicked. So as the week comes to an end, we've got some great trades to run through. First things first, we're going to go through our AUD JPY position, which we entered on Monday. Looking at it here, right, our entry was here. This candlestick right here, coming up at the break and retest of this area, we entered bullish engulfing candlestick, engulfing the previous bearish one. So going into the day, we had our move up, and then coming into the night, we had a little retracement to retest this 1 hour 50 EMA, and then as I was sleeping in the middle of the night, had this aggressive move up. Now my exit was at this top here. Coincidentally, as I exited, the next few candlesticks, next few hours, basically swept all the way down. At the time when I was looking at it, I was thinking, yeah, phew, got out at the perfect time. So happy I didn't stay in to watch this aggressive pullback. But if we want to go into higher time frames to see what happened thereafter, Absolutely ripped. Absolutely ripped. Hit our full take profit, which was at the minus 27 on the fib, which would have given us a 2.9 risk to reward. But nonetheless, I'm really happy with this one. It was a great less than 24-hour hold. So honestly, can't complain at all. This was a great trade. In and out. Looking at the JPY index, again, everything we spoke about, rejecting the 61.8 on the fib. What once was the floor is now the ceiling, again, which was support is now resistance. And rejecting that 8-hour 50 EMA. We had this great move down, again, coming all the way down to our minus 27 on the fib and then aggressively having a move up. So yes, we could have held it all the way down to this minus 27. However, in the position we're in, we was negative 6% in drawdown. Great to be in and out to secure 2% on the account. Currently we're sitting at 4% in drawdown, which I'll go through after as well so you can see. And again, AUD on the index had a great move up, reaching this level here and rejecting it. So yeah, overall, great trade, solid, textbook trade. Really, really happy with that. The second trade we was in, oil, still in this. Looking at it on the 8-hour, had the rejection of the 8-hour 50 at this area of interest. Had an initial move up, took 10% off the table at 1R, which was about somewhere around here. So it took 10% off the table there. Didn't move stops to break even, however, because as we are still in a bullish uptrend, it's likely we could have seen, again, a retracement back down, which we did, and I would have been taken out at break even had I moved my stops to BE. Rejected that 8-hour 50 once again, had another move up, came back down once more to reject that 8-hour 50, and then had the aggressive move up. I am still full risk on this position. I will be moving it to break even or once the market opens later on. And yeah, I'll be taking profit anywhere in between this zone here where I've got 2 alerts set. Once the initial alert gets hit at this 61.7 region, I'll be looking to take profit. I have an auto take profit set at 61.9. This blue horizontal zone is marked out because of, if we go into the weekly now, all across here, we've had rejections. So probability says if we do come into that zone, we could reject and come back down. So I'm more than happy to come out a little bit earlier just to save the headache of almost hitting take profit, but it dying just before. Our Bitcoin position is dying hard. It did reject the weekly 50 up here. My original take profit was at the 105 mark up here. Again, still in this. I'm currently getting devoured by swaps. I think I'm at something like 0.3% of the account is in swaps, which is about $300 on this 100k. But yeah, we're still in this position. We're still holding. I have moved my stops just below here. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what this does. It's currently holding this ascending trend line, so it's not the best thing to be seeing at the moment. But as long as you don't break these lows, we should be okay. But yeah, this is a very annoying position. I am considering closing it should we reach this level once more, where this grey horizontal box is. If we do reach this, I am considering closing and then looking for a smaller position, a shorter term, instead of this massive swing, because crypto at the moment is very hit and miss. But yeah, overall great end to the week. We are currently looking at our FTMO metrics. We are currently at $96,216, which we are up 2%, up 2,000 from our lows at the start of the week. Currently floating a position, our US oil currently floating 1,700. I think if we close at my profit line, it should be about 2,000, which is another 2% hopefully added to the account, which will take us up to 98,000. And this is our Bitcoin position currently being ruined. 41 days holding. That's insane. I think we can see swaps here as well. Swaps, look at that. Minus 310. Crazy. Net profit on this position is minus 340. Insane for a 41-day hold. Horrible. I think we can see our AUD JPY position. It was almost 24-hour hold. 2,000 banked. 10% taken on our oil position is there. And this was our loss at the start of the week. Euro GBP. Beautiful. Things we love to see. And again, on our C trader, we can see the same thing. History for the week: US oil, R1R, $100 bank, 10% off the table. ADJPY 2K, our Euro GBP position, and we are currently holding US oil and our Bitcoin position almost $350 negative now. Love that. Absolutely love it. But overall, a solid week. Really happy with the performance. And we go again next week. I'll see you guys in the next one.